Good evening to our online family. It's Marriage Monday. So that means that it's time for Brian and DeAndrea to go live. So tonight for Marriage Monday, our topic is admitting your mistakes and accepting responsibility. So I'll start it out. I had a real big issue with admitting I was wrong. It is one of those, don't look like that. It's one of those situations where, in a lot of ways, I'll say it like this: in a lot of ways, I had characteristics that would be traditionally considered um, for most males. Hello, Elder Anita. Hello, Denise. Um, yeah, I'll leave it at that. I'll let you go.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was wrong. I would just try to flip the subject or make her laugh or do something to take away from having to say, yeah. But I don't really have a problem with it. It might take me a minute, but I'll come through and say, hey, yeah, I
He had
drank.
an easier time saying he was wrong than I did initially. And that's because I never had to.
So what she's saying is being in love is not having to say you sorry.
Okay.
That's a bunch of caca.
I don't have a problem with it now. I can admit when I'm wrong. Um, I will also try to make retribution. And as far as accepting responsibility, you have to have a level of maturity in order to, hey there, Tanisha, you have to have a level of maturity in order to accept responsibility. I have some more that I want to add about that, but it's not really dealing with marriage. It's more so warnings for single people. Hey there, Mama
Well,
Beverly.
that's where it starts because you single before you get married.
This is true. I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk though.
What? That whole
Accepting responsibility.
uh the whole admitting when you're wrong, especially men, I think men have it worse because the first thing women say is, well, what did I do? And these men be mad, you did. And instead of us saying, well, let's look at the big picture here. What did we do? How did we get here? Because it wasn't a one person ride. Two it was two people on the ride, and somebody decided that they wanted to go left, and the other person said, I want to go right. And now and usually I'm telling you, just that night quit. When you say you sorry, like when you go to that person, be like, hey, even if you don't be like, I'm sorry, just kind of be like, yeah, I kind of showed it on that, didn't I? Yeah, I messed up. I dropped the ball on that one. I could have did this a little different. I could have said that a little different. Because a lot of people do not like saying I'm sorry. They won't say it. So they'll do something
Pride.
and letting you know.
Pride is why most people
Yeah,
have trouble saying they're sorry.
they'll do. But then some people try to do things to let you know they're being apologetic. But I'm the type of person just come and say, just let me know we good.
So it's important. A lot of people know about love languages, but the same author that wrote the five love languages also wrote the five apology languages. So it's important to find out your partner's apology language as well, because some people don't want to hear I'm sorry. Some people want you again
To grovel.
to no.
Yes, they do. Yes, don't. Yeah, yes.
That's not a part of the apology languages though.
Yeah, he made that one up. You
Anyway,
you
the
can
five apology languages is another great book, and I'll share, if y'all remind me. I'll share
nah.
what those five apology languages are.
Let's be honest. How many times have you tried to apologize to somebody and they on that bull junk? I know nobody want to hear that. Sorry ain't good enough. All
That's
right.
because sorry is not
So
their apology language.
okay, so this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna just stop talking to you because it's gonna turn into I'm gonna turn into Samuel L. Jackson.
He hasn't read the book.
You could say sorry in more than one way,
Yes.
but it's people who, when you say anything, I apologize. Hey, here goes some. I got.
It's the same thing with love languages. If your love language is words of affirmation, and I'm trying to buy gifts, you ain't trying. You don't want to give the gifts. Don't mean nothing.
I'm gonna take the gifts, but I'm like, you could have still told me that.
See what I'm dealing with?
You can still give me the gifts.
So back to what I was gonna say about accepting responsibility, and hey there, Charlotte, it's accepting responsibility and being single. So the advice that I wanted to offer, and this is from a female perspective, talking about men. You want to make sure, or I'll say it like this, not you want to make sure, but it is dangerous for women to get into a relationship with a man who has never lived on his own. It will be very difficult for that person to accept responsibility for anything, especially paying bills. If they have only lived under their mom and daddy's roof, or whatever that home situation looked like, and they've never paid their own bills, it's going to be extremely difficult for that person to then pay the bills as the head of the household or as the father, husband, etc. So Denise says, "Is sorry anyone's apology language?" That's really good. It might be. I don't know.
It depends on the person because some people you can say I'm sorry to and they good. They like, all right, well, just
That's all. That's all they wanted to hear.
Some people you say I'm sorry to and they like a deaf mute. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, it do like me saying you sorry, I'm good. That's all I want. You ain't gotta grovel. You just be like, I'm sorry. She just be like, I'm sorry.
So the best way, similar to the love languages, the best way to figure out what somebody's apology language is listen to what they say. If they say, please forgive me, that's very different from I apologize or I'm sorry. The same way if somebody's always giving gifts, then gifts is probably their love language. So you got to pay attention to what people say. And like I always say, if you listen to somebody tell long enough, they tell on themselves. That could be good or bad. You can learn a lot about a person based on what they say. So how do they apologize? Do they say, I'm sorry? Do they say, please forgive me? Do they try and just make it up to you by doing something?
You're saying, that's the words to a song. No. It's hard for me to say I'm sorry.
See, I don't know nothing about that. he the musical genius over here.
For you 80s kids, that's that pop music.
So was it difficult for you to accept responsibility? And again, I know that kind of talks a little bit about maturity and your journey.
I ain't have it is this like a three-sided question because coming into my first marriage, I knew that you had to pay bills, blah blah blah. I was the one coming home, putting the making sure, make sure these bills paid. Yeah, that wasn't working.
Tell them why. Don't just leave them hanging. Tell them why it wasn't working.
The person I was with decided to do what they wanted to do with the money. So they wasn't taking the money and paying the bills and making sure things was taken care of. Now, I'm not going to put it all on them because I agreed to some of the stuff, but I was under the, I thought that the bills was taken care of. So yeah, if the bills taken care of, we can, do what we do. Then you start getting them notes and people saying, hey, where the, what? Wait, I thought.
So when it comes to paying bills, make sure there's not only somebody who's responsible, but somebody who actually follows through. It's always been a debate as to who should pay the bills. The person who is the most fiscally responsible, that's the person that should pay the bills. The person that is best with money as well as best with keeping track of stuff, whether you have a spreadsheet and you do your budget on it, or whether you just have a checklist and make sure that all the bills are paid. However you do it, whoever's going to make sure that the stuff is done and be accountable to the other person, that's what I think.
Then I feel like this. Don't put the whole load on one person. If you could take the lighter end of it, like I know what I can do and what I can't do when it come
we both saw that at the same time.
That's a good question.
What if the person who is not responsible insists on paying the bills? What's our advice?
Take it out there and take that power out of their hands.
It's the difficult part of that for me is insist. Yeah. Because that's a control issue.
Yeah.
And now, it's probably bigger than just paying the bills, because if that person's insisting on that, and that means they're insisting on some things in some other areas. So that's a control issue, and that's going to be bigger than just paying the bills. So it's about getting down to the root, and that's going to be my response for just about any area. What's the root of this? What really caused this response? Because, like you said a couple weeks ago with the socks, it's not about the dirty socks on the
Not about
floor.
the socks
What's
at
the
all.
real issue we dealing with? And that's about dealing with the real issue. So you got to either pray and ask God to reveal it, or pay attention to the behaviors and figure it out. Because if you're married to that person, you're in a long-term committed relationship, there are some other signs, there are some other clues as to what's really going on. And it's about, using that gift of discernment, using, um, again, words of wisdom, words of knowledge, however God revealed it to you, to figure out what that real root is. And if it's something that the two of you cannot sit down and come to an agreement about, then it's got to be supernatural. It's got to be a spiritual intervention, because God knows what He wants. And in marriages, He knows the position that He wants the husband to be in. He knows the position He wants the wife to be in. And again, leave it up to God. My thing always is, I will go to God and I'll be like, God, that's your child. That's just how me and God. That's your child.
I just stick them up and say, give me the money, because I know you gonna just let me rob you now. Just get no. Seriously, that's
He played too much.
You only could do so much talking and saying, hey, we need to do. I mean, to me, it comes down to,
do they want to
do they really want to do right? Because I can't imagine. Well, she a different breed anyway, so I can't imagine being like, yeah, so that money I told you I was gonna put on the light bill? Yeah, I bought me a video game. This would be a whole different segment. You will see me hold my eye like, yeah, last week. She just don't. She not. It all depends on the person you dealing with, because if you can't talk to that person, say, hey, you keep putting me in a rut, and they say, okay, I understand. Let's do it this way. Or even if they responsible enough to say, hey, I'm gonna give it to you. Like she said, that's a control issue, because if I know I can't handle something, I'm gonna tell her off rip. I ain't you.
Like if you like going to the Dollar Tree, that ain't a dollar no more. That's another story. But
it's
if you know if you know you like to spend money, if you know you love going shopping, if you know that then you can't really hold on to money,
you probably don't want to.
Yeah, you're not the best person to handle that, and it's some other issues going on.
I use myself as an example. I had to start little, like with paying a $9.99 $10 bill. Paying like Spotify.
Right. Be consistent over that. Be a good steward over that.
If I can take care of that, a $10 bill, and then okay, so I can add enough. Now I don't have a problem saying, honey, you don't gotta worry about the lights, the gas, the woo. And she don't be like, hey, did you? I can't believe, because I first of all, I don't want to be in the dark. Let's clear that up. I don't want to be in the dark, and I don't want to be cold. So she don't have to worry about that. And I like listening to music. So all them little things, like having gas in the car, stuff like that. We
taking showers.
Oh my gosh, just simple stuff. We need water. Listen, it's about being responsible. Yeah. And if that person don't want to be responsible, a business decision gonna have to be made, whether they like it or not. Listen, I trusted you to do it. Well, this how it's going down. You gotta hit them with that. It might hurt their feelings, but my thing, like the old folk, you say, scratch your deep and get happy.
So Anita said, keeping each other accountable, even if the person paying bills is responsible. Have a monthly meeting. That might work.
Yeah, that might work.
Charlotte says, it is tough. I have to watch my own self financially. Stay away from online bookstores and their payday. Look, I'm a boogie nerd. I know exactly what you mean. Mama says, what if your spouse just gives you the money to handle things? Look, if you can be trusted to handle it, then that's fine. If you can't be trusted to handle it, that's an entirely different story.
So, like she said, it depends on you, because the person I was taking $20 out of my check just to have bus fare and to get lunch. $20. This was a long time. This was back when $20 was $20. So I trusted that person, and the bills wasn't really that high. It was like we could have. Listen, if you want to boogie woogie on the weekend, we could do it because we could. No, so that person has to be willing to be responsible. Like I said, she don't hit me up with a text like, "Did you remember to?" Because I remember the first time I shocked her. She was so like, "Oh my gosh!" So the we had got a little bit of high. The light gas bill had got a little bit, and she wasn't saying that, but I could tell it was kind of like she was having flashbacks. So I didn't say nothing to her, but I had made in my mind I was gonna knock that out. Take care of the little cable bill, all in one swoop. She resting peacefully, and she hearing all this dinging on my phone. Ding, ding. What you over there doing? Don't you worry about it. You just relax. So within the next 30 minutes, I said the light and gear, that's taken care of. The water taken care of. The cable taken. And she just looking at me like, what? But it showed her that she don't have to have that weight of trying to, and that's what people want.
We were both reading that.
Yeah,
so I would be in deep trouble. Her ex-husband did that once. I misused and abused his money. Yeah, we still talk. He's in Florida. Okay, thanks for
he
sharing
started
that.
saying Bobby Brown, I gotta get away. I gotta get away.
But it's good to be to a place where you admit that, okay, yep, I messed this part of this up.
So another thing, a person with habits, I'm speaking from experience. I'm not talking about nobody else. I'm talking about me. I used to smoke, drink, and smoke and drink.
He's talking about smoking and smoking.
And smoking and drink and smoke and drink. And then smoke some more. And I would not factor in that was a bill taken away from paying other bills. So if you okay, so
if you got any type of habit, it could be shopping, books,
if
shoes.
you spending more than you bringing in, you probably want to look at what you're doing, because being responsible, and then you have to face the fact that you're the one that did it, and then you got to go to your mate like, yeah. So remember that extra $200-300 we thought we was gonna have? Yeah, I blew it.
So having goals is good, but you cannot set goals if you don't have a budget. And I know budget is a bad word.
That's a cuss word.
But you got to have a budget. And again, you got to know what's coming in, and you need to know what's going out. If you don't even know what's coming in and going out, you have no basis to start from.
Yeah, I was bad for that.
So you got to know what's coming in and going out, because if you decide to go on a vacation, you got to set up so much money to be able to go on vacation. Because I'm sorry, I'm not going on vacation and taking peanut butter and jelly with me. We're not doing that.
We are not.
So you got to have a budget. Let's see. Books used to be lipstick. Yeah, pandemic shut all that down. But yeah, I know what you mean about books. Me and books have a love relationship.
I want to tell y'all women this. Women not the only one who have an addiction to Amazon. I was buying stuff off Amazon that I didn't even need. Oh look, I need 3 more watches, sir. You what? So you have to know when to say when and say, okay, I've gotten a lot better, because it used to be, okay, well, I'm gonna just buy this because I want to buy myself something. Nah, if I don't need it, it's gonna take me a minute. I don't think I should buy that. But then she helped me with, because you
assets and liabilities. You have to know when to cut your liabilities as well, because if the bad behavior continues, and I don't know how else to say it, but if the bad behaviors continue, then yeah, some hard decisions are going to have to be made. Some feelings are going to be hurt. We're going to get there. Some feelings are going to be hurt. But if we can't sit and have a conversation about it, then yeah, you got to cut your liabilities and figure things out and let them be mad. They'll figure it out. Okay, how do couples handle one spending most of their income while the other does what they want with their money? That's a problem that most couples have, because one is typically the spender and one is the saver. And, again, you'd be surprised how common that is, but it comes down to uncomfortable conversation, because I'm sorry, I'm not going to be paying all the bills while you just out there just having fun, doing whatever you want to do. Hey, that's not going to work.
You look like You was making the rant in the club. Who's what? We need to talk about something later. That you was saying.
So, okay, Charlotte, we're gonna talk about this. She said I can relate. I had so many books. I had duplicates. I didn't have a lot of duplicates till I met this guy, but he wants to have the same books that I have, which just adds to my book buying addiction because it's a good thing. Now let me explain this because he wants to have the same book that I have so that we can read it together, which is great because we can have some wonderful conversations. But at the same time, now I'm buying duplicates of the books I already have. Not all the time, but a lot of I got some good books, y'all. So a lot of the books that I have,
this lady got books so thick it take 3 years to read them. You ain't finna read that and no sit down.
So okay, had money. A lot of people, it's not just one gender or the other, but I can use my mom and daddy as an example because they're not going to get me.
Right.
So my mama had a real bad habit of hiding money in the house. She would hide money in the house.
From herself.
She would have presents in the house. Like there are probably some birthday and Christmas gifts in the house still that we haven't found yet. Because Christmas be long gone. It'd be almost my birthday, which is in June. And she'd be like, oh, I found another Christmas gift I had put up for you. Ma'am, it's almost Christmas again. Ma'am. So yes, hiding stuff in the house, definitely. All right. Yep, we're still waiting on you to share your book list. Ooh, yeah. I will start sharing my book list, but right now, I have half of my books in boxes because my bookshelf collapsed. I gotta buy a new bookshelf. So yeah,
okay.
Some of my stuff's in boxes.
I gotta be the bad police officer here.
Uh-oh.
We supposed to be talking about admitting
when you're wrong. Went left. We're still talking about accepting responsibility, though.
That ain't admitting you wrong.
What you want to talk about?
I want to talk about the birds and the bees. We have so many. Okay, so especially men. See, there don't be no men. I got to recruit some men to come on here because I feel like I'm by myself,
representing your whole gender,
just the whole crew. Men, we think we supposed to fix every. Like when she says, I learned now just because she talking about something.
I'm not looking
don't
for
mean she want a solution.
No.
But then I have to remember to turn on my friend ears because the husband be like, oh, what? The friend be like, for real, girl? So you gotta, and then, yeah, bringing other people in.
We not there yet. Finish what you're talking about.
Yeah, but men, we have a hard time. I mean, we wrong because of our egos. We feel like if it's something that was done or said wrong, and if you wouldn't have said or did, instead of saying, well, I should have just came straight to the table and been like, yeah, I shouldn't have said that or I shouldn't have did that. What we try to do is flip it and make the woman feel guilty because most of the time the woman going through emotional roller coaster during that moment. So we try to play see what if you wouldn't have, boy, just say you showed it and just stop it. Just grab her and say, I showed it. Now, what can we do? And watch how fast she stop arguing because she's going to be like, what, did he just, yep, I showed it. Come on, let's go have dinner.
So we have a question, and I think it ties in with accepting responsibility. So the question is, are there sexual taboos in marriage? The easy answer is yes. The question becomes, are we talking about marriage in general? Are we talking about a biblical marriage? What kind of marriage we talking about?
That he knew her.
Because, that's so bad.
Hey,
we're going to get there in a minute. Hold on, Charlotte. We're going to deal with this one first. So are there sexual taboos in marriage? Absolutely. And I'll give this answer, and you can, say whatever you want to say. But a lot of times when we're dealing with bizarre sexual requests.
He said bizarre.
When you're dealing with what some people would consider to be sexual perversion, sexual taboos. A lot of it comes because of exposure to pornography. So because of particularly early exposure as preteens, teenagers, because of early exposure, we have these wild ideas of what sex is supposed to be like. And, your spouse ain't getting paid to be on film to do all that stuff. And the people that's getting paid to be on film to do all that stuff, most of them don't do that stuff in their relationships anyway. Um, I'll be more specific if you want me to, but that's where I'll stop right now. So Charlotte said, calling a
Wait a minute.
spouse, you get to go. Calling a spouse by a former spouse's name, that is like the ultimate insult.
Look, see what stuff. You opened it up. You opened up Pandora's box with stuff. Listen.
So the scripture says,
I'm gonna just keep it 100 because I'm speaking from experience. I don't care how good you getting what you getting. Just say no. Don't entertain nothing. Don't entertain it. If they
so the first taboo is don't bring anyone outside into your marriage. That goes a few different ways, not just sexually. Don't bring other people into your marriage. Don't allow other people in. Don't bring people in your marriage sexually. Don't bring people in your marriage emotionally. Don't bring people in your business, period. Whatever's going on between you and your spouse, leave it between you and your spouse, unless there's a counselor or trusted advisor that you are communicating with. Do not invite other people into your bedroom. I mean, if y'all swingers or whatever else, that's fine. That's not what we're discussing right here. The easy answer is no. Don't do it. That's a no. So that's the big stuff. There's some other stuff, but that's between you and your partner because it's all about what's permissible for that couple.
Listen, what's going on behind your door is your business. That because I heard stories and I'm like, wow, you sharing that with the class?
Celibacy is a beautiful thing to be celebrated. I'm gonna just shout out my girl right now. Elder Anita will be leading some single and celibate classes because she has been single and celibate for 17 years. So shout out to Elder Anita.
You get a round of applause.
Charlotte, congrats to you. You've been celibate for many years too. I don't know how many years, but bless God for both of y'all. She said, Elder Anita says, my first request is not to have the guy do what the old man do.
Ma'am.
I'm not saying that out loud.
Ma'am.
Oh my gosh. Ma'am. Wonderful, wonderful. So we got 17 years and 12 years. Bless both of y'all. The Lord is well pleased. No, we're not talking about The Color Purple.
I'm not messing with that old ghetto movie.
All right. So what else as far as accepting responsibility? Or are we still on the sexual taboo?
No, you got it. As far as accepting responsibility, that's a two-way street because Okay. I think it started with childhood because.
Oh, that's good. All I'm gonna say is dad.
When a child does something that they should be responsible for, a lot of parents take that child and they take the weight of it for them instead of letting that child staying in the place of their own responsibility. Okay, so that becomes a habit. So now this person gets older and they don't know nothing about accepting responsibility. They don't know that you're supposed to stand up and say, yeah, that's my fault. I did that. Something simple. When I played basketball, if I turned the ball over or missed a shot or did something crazy on the court that cost my team to, we lose whatever, I'll get myself to, that's me. That's my fault. We have to teach our children at a young age that you cannot go through life not being. Some as a 3-year-old learn how to pick their toys up, or when they do something to one of their siblings, if they have siblings, you got to teach them then, because once they get older and they don't understand the concept of itself, a lot of stuff starts when we kids, though. If you think about it, we
deal with a lot of adults, not just men, not just women, but we deal with a lot of adults who never got chastised or corrected as children, and now they grown folks and they think that that's acceptable, and it's not. We need to follow the biblical model. If you pay attention in Genesis, when Adam and Eve messed up, God said, "Where art thou, Adam?" He started asking questions. It wasn't because God didn't know. He was asking questions because he wanted them to understand where they were, how they got there. So even as little children, if they're able to ask questions, they're able to answer questions. So engage them in that conversation. Well, why did you do this? And that is what leads to them learning how to accept responsibility, because now they have to admit what they did, how it happened, and everything else. And it will also reduce the amount of lying in the household. We don't have to teach kids how to lie. They pick that up because they're born in
Listen, all
sin.
you gotta do is watch a kid when you ask them, do they do? You look right at them. You seen them do it, and they'll look you right in the face and say, "I didn't do it."
It
First of
wasn't me.
all, first of all, now you trying to make me think I'm stupid. I saw you do it, but she right. You don't have to teach a child how to be sinful because that's already in them. The thing is teaching kids how to be righteous, how to live according to Bible. Because no, I'm not going to say righteous because there's certain people, certain religion groups that think the way they is righteous. I'm gonna say live by biblical principles. If we put it in them, well, what the Bible say, you train the child up, and you know how to do that.
So yes, you are right, Elder Anita. Just because it's permissible does not mean it's godly, and that's why I say it all depends on what you allow in your house.
Yeah.
Because some people aren't healed in that area, and some things are okay, and other people just
Listen. You have to have a list of questions to ask,
and boundaries,
and you gotta have what we call it, the
non-negotiables.
non-negotiables, because people come in with expectations. They do.
You got to discuss your expectations.
And, okay, I'll give you an example. If you come in and somebody got a strong sexual appetite and you don't, but they don't know you don't, and they expect you to be on their level, that's going to be all bad. That because you didn't ask the right questions.
Yeah, that's the right question.
You gotta listen. You can't be mad.
And it's gonna lead to problems later on.
Right.
Because a lot of times when you want to invite other people over is because somebody ain't satisfying somebody somewhere else.
It's like, hey, you gotta ask questions like, so do you like men too? Listen, that's how people get, hey, do you like to overeat? Do you like to waste money? The problem is we don't ask the right question. Do you believe in Jesus? You gotta, because now you in this relationship, now you done built this rapport with this person, and now you mad because everything you thought, you didn't ask them, you just started because you that way, and they ain't even close to what you. Now you mad, and they don't even know why you mad. Why you mad at me for?
Because they frustrated.
Because they don't understand nothing that's going. Because you didn't ask.
They done built up some tension.
Hey, listen, they asked the wrong question, like, what's your sign? I don't care what your sign is. I want to know, can you cook? Can you cook? Because if we get in the kitchen and you...
we both sit up here
hungry in the mud, because I ain't know... You didn't ask me, and I ain't asked you. We both looking at each other like, who gonna cook? Oh, you don't cook? Why you didn't ask me that? Because I don't cook neither. You gotta ask the right questions.
Oh my goodness.
And that saved a lot of trouble. See, me and her went down the list and started asking questions.
List.
We was like, wait, okay, yeah, I'm glad you asked me.
We started with 20 questions.
You got to, because listen, y'all gonna thank me later. Because you with that person, you can't stand Brussels sprouts, and she bring you a plate of Brussels sprouts and you knock the plate out of her hand. She like, I don't like Brussels sprouts. I ain't know. You ain't asked. That's like I buy her something red, and I ain't. You see her face? We the same way. She buy me something red. It's gonna be some furniture moving
you
here.
You will not find red in her house.
You gotta ask the right questions.
Yes, knowing is half the battle.
Yes,
and thank you, G.I. Joe.
Yes, thank you, G.I. Joe. We learned as a kid. But see, we don't teach our kids to ask the right question. Like, okay, you like somebody, that's nice. Yeah, that's good. You like them. But ask the right question. Is there any crazy people in your family? Because I won't go around your people and I'm looking at you like, why you tell me your Uncle Joe was like that? You listen, you gotta ask.
Good questions. So how do you deal with a spouse who started off cooking and cleaning, after a couple of years they stop? People change.
Yeah.
People change. I'll say this, I'll tell on myself. I love to cook. But I went on strike and probably didn't cook for almost a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, not him, But the other people in our house that was living with us,
Was complaining.
they didn't appreciate the
Mm,
cooking. So
eat
I went
that.
on strike.
It
And
ain't
now
bother me 'cause
whenever
I
mama
was
cooks,
look.
whenever mama cooks now, they appreciate it because they ain't had it in a while.
She married a scavenger. It ain't bother me. I go down there and slap some.
Lots of things change through the years.
It does.
So
It
yeah,
does.
who cooks, who cleans. Again, if you're having regular communication, it should not be an issue. Expectations change, desires change, all of that's fine, but you need to keep up communication and you have to
You gotta go
communicate
through
with
the
one another
checklist. Excuse me,
regularly
y'all.
because, yes, things do change over the years, over time, different seasons. So another good question, what if your sexual appetite changes through the years? It does.
You better get
Men
that
and women are very different over the
Astroglide,
years.
buddy. You're gonna be getting. Tell him to stack some magazines and just pretend it's you. No,
I am not. We are not condoning that. So yes, your sexual appetite
it
can
does.
change.
It.
Again, you got to have some uncomfortable conversations with your spouse.
You gotta get a new hobby. I don't know what to tell you. That's a grown up talk. Hey, I don't really. I ain't.
See, those are one of the questions you need to ask in advance.
But how you know?
No, you don't have to know. Like you don't have to know
Oh
if
yeah,
this
I
is
know
going
what
to
you're
happen in
saying.
your relationship, but you need to ask that in advance.
Hey, what
like,
if
okay,
my
if
appetite-
something happens and I'm no longer able to perform sexually, or if something happens, I mean, that goes both ways. You need to know if that person is going to still hang around or if they're going to want to bring over a playmate.
Ooh, it's gonna be some furniture moving, buddy. You bring another playmate up in this
Ooh,
journey. That was funny.
Going
I ain't
touching that, Charlotte.
Going to emergency. You gonna have your husband emergency. Ma'am, I need an
Ooh.
oxygen tank. You're gonna have him with an oxygen tank on his back.
Yeah, so it does. Your appetite changes.
So it's to me, you got to pay attention to the signs. Normally, a person lose interest or when they stop doing the little cute things to let you know that they like when it's finna go down. You probably want to start asking like, "Hey, what's going on?" Where especially when they mentally block you out and you ain't showing no. If they ain't showing, you ain't showing no form of
excitement.
Excitement. She said Weezy is not attractive. If it's no form of excitement, it's time to talk. It's time to talk. It is. It's time to talk because somebody gonna get frustrated, and you do not want to put, especially you married, you don't want to put your spouse in a situation where they're looking outside the marriage for a replacement.
You also want to make sure that you're taking the time to pay attention to yourself. Pay attention to not only your needs, but also are you doing the things that you know that your partner likes? If they're a visual person, are you doing those things to still be visually appealing to the person that you're in love with? The same way with the other person, if they are more physical than visual, well, are you doing the back rubs? Are you doing, the small things without just going straight for the private parts? There are other ways to show interest. And not only that, I am a huge, strong proponent that sex begins outside the bedroom. If you are not doing the things to let that person know that you're thinking about them throughout the day,
yeah, it's gonna be
please
a long
don't come
day.
over here touching on me.
So listen, this lady really took me through training because you have to learn about the person you with.
And don't compare them to the last person you were with.
Man, we so fickle. We think a kiss here and a rub here and it's time to get busy. That's not how that works, bro. You might want to start Monday if you're trying to hook up Thursday. Don't wait till Thursday. You better start Sunday and keep it rolling.
How do you tell someone you don't want to be intimate if they have a bad body odor? You know what? I will go get a soap and a rag.
Hey, let me help you out, baby. This is how I like to wash you up. These are spots I like to be clean. If they protest, show them the door. If they be like, don't put that soap on me, you already know what's up.
Or you can recommend, let's take a shower together.
Hit them with the Teddy Pendergrass.
Let's take a shower.
Yeah, get sexy with them.
Together.
If they looking at you sideways when you say that, you know what's up. All right, then. Yeah. And see, a lot of men think intimacy is the act, and it's not. like
You
women,
could
man,
be
y'all
intimate without being
listen.
physical.
Women some bad motor scooters once you learn, because it all start with the intricate details of setting it up. Like I said, start on Sunday. If you're trying to hook up Friday, don't wait till Friday. Do the like I know she like to see stuff cleaned up and moved around.
Acts
And
of service, that's my love
hey, I
language.
start Sunday just picking up one thing at a time off the floor, all the way to Friday. You gotta do, men gotta learn that y'all need that attention, and especially if you like physical touch. If a dude just rub your hand and think it's hit him in the throat, that's my physical touch. You ain't finna just we gotta learn that. Then she took me through training though, because I was that dude like, listen, I'm fly and we ready. No nigga, put all that back on. Start over. We not doing that. So it's a wonderful thing when you take responsibility and say, okay, I gotta change something about myself. Because what we tend to do is we do bring our past into it thinking that's how it is, or that's how they gonna, and no, now you done got your feelings hurt because you thought that's how it was gonna know. I don't know what you used to dealing with, but that ain't it. This is not it. So yeah, it's intimacy is a bad boy when you understand the whole dynamics of it.
All right, this one's for you. Minister Brian, what advice would you give men regarding knowing what intimacy is or learning your mate?
Whoo, girl, let me tell you. He you have to ask her, and it might sound like you not that bright, but men have to start asking, do you like this? What about this? Am I touching it right? Am I kissing it right? What do you like? If you want to know her, you gotta ask.
Okay, say for example, it's somebody who doesn't respond well to those questions because say she's um, quiet and a little more reserved.
Then you use sign language. You lick
That
your
wasn't
tongue.
the answer I was looking
No.
for.
No. You
Because your body speaks.
you gotta be patient. You gotta be patient with that person, really, because she gonna tell you in some shape, form, or fashion how she feel and what she like. And her body gonna talk for her. So even if she not saying nothing, the way you touch her gonna show you if you even getting close to what she. If she kind of tense up, you probably want to put that boy in reverse and ask, hey, what can, and the thing is, men don't like to ask, what can I do to get this situation to where we both on the same page? And I had to ask that because at first I was that dude. I ain't asking nothing. I know.
Okay, so let's go back to when you learned um, really what intimacy was and how touch is different from the sexual act.
Paying attention to detail, listening to her. He gotta listen to you. If he not listening to you, he's selfish because you're gonna tell him yes, no, okay. Listen, y'all talk to us, we just don't listen. I had to learn to listen, and she wasn't always talking. It was the way she would respond. Like if I rubbed her leg too hard, or yeah, her body attention, or if I, you know, you lost me with that one, sis. Yeah.
What suggestions would you give if men don't listen to their spouse?
Get a bullhorn, put it right in his ear. I don't, cause I don't understand how you love somebody. What this? Okay, wrap your man around with this with me for me. Take a walk with me for a minute. How this man say he love you and he want to be with you and he want to be intimate with you, but he don't listen? That sounds selfish to me because ain't this lady? Then let me tell you something. She ain't trying to hear that. If I'm telling you that this, that, and the other, and we ain't communicating right, oh yeah, you better go get that Astroglide, buddy. Cause ain't nothing popping off over here. I'm going to sleep. I'm putting on all my clothes. You ain't touching nothing because you ain't listening. I don't. That's selfish to me. If you telling this person, hey, this is what I like. This is how I like it. Blah blah blah. Woo woo, and they not listening, you're gonna have to make a grown up decision, and it's gonna hurt his feelings. But hey, what Kevin Hart said, he gonna learn today. You gonna learn today. Stop repeating yourself. Stop. Stop repeating yourself. He listen, that person grown. Stop repeating yourself. You repeat yourself to kids. You don't repeat yourself to grown ups.
Now, at the same time, I'll add this: you don't want to weaponize sex. I do not believe in denying your partner sexual pleasure. A lot of times, women get a bad rap because they say that, we withhold if we're upset, we withhold for this, that, and other reason. But, that's not something I believe in for several
My
reasons.
mom said.
Obviously, it doesn't work well as far as communication.
Right.
It's manipulation, it's control, which is essentially witchcraft. You don't want that in your relationship. But at the same time, I'm not denying my pleasure because I'm mad at you.
See, that's where the trouble starts. That's where it becomes trouble in the bubble because somebody not listening. And then the mediator had to come in. Well, what's the problem? Well, then they put on the front, yes, I I don't understand how you love someone and you don't listen to them telling you how this affect or how that affect and how this. I can't fathom that. I can't fathom not listening to her about something that's important to her. Do I go through them stages where I don't say nothing? It's not because I'm not listening. I'm absorbing it in so I can go and get my mind right and
That's
come
a good
back
point.
and say, you was right. Okay, let's say he not responding. Keep telling him, but at the same time, let him know that you need him to understand this, that, and the third. Now you breaking it down to him. Now, once you start breaking it down to him and saying, hey, this is where I am and this is where I need you to be, this, that, and the third. Now you're gonna see, is he really trying to uh, uh, make the relationship in that area better, or is he selfish? And if he's selfish, you're gonna probably have to get some type of counselor or some type of, because that's not fair to neither one of y'all.
So it helps when you're communicating, because again, women get a bad rap for quote unquote nagging. It helps if you communicate using I statements. I feel this way when whatever the I statement is,
Right.
it's helpful, and it people get defensive automatically if you start wagging your finger out and telling
They
you always, you
you
never. So take that defensiveness out and say, okay, well, this is how I feel when this happens.
right.
That way you're dealing with the problem and you're working towards a solution rather than
Right.
just pointing your finger at that person and
Right.
essentially blaming them for whatever's going wrong. The other thing I will admit, since we're talking about admitting your mistakes, initially, see, I talk fast, I listen fast, I process fast. And that's just because that's how my brain works. So it took me a while to understand that this man right here, he's got to take it in, process it, think about it, and then respond. I expected an immediate response because I give immediate responses. And initially, that used to upset me. Like, why is he not responding
You're
to
not
me?
listening to me. I am
Right, but
listening.
you got to understand how that person is. If they take a minute to process and then come back like, oh, okay, I understand what you were saying because of XYZ, that's fine. But you got to understand that about them. If you expect a response immediately and they need time to process, that's
Gonna be
something
a
that you
problem.
have to understand and give them the space to do that. Everybody doesn't respond the way that you do, everybody doesn't process information the way that you do. You have to learn your mate and then be okay with them being them. Don't expect them to be you.
And
Yeah, you
yeah,
don't want to give the devil any openings because of lack of communication. Because you know what happens when you're not communicating with your spouse, they are going to automatically communicate with somebody else. And when they start communicating with somebody else, whether it's a family member, not a family member in your business, they know what's going on in your household, or they find in somebody's ear at work. So whether it's another female, whether it's another guy or whatever, that's all dangerous because if you're talking to that guy about your woman and then now that guy circle back and he talking to that woman talking about, I don't know why you put up with this, that, and the third.
right.
Now he trying to make a way to slide on in there.
Yeah.
Or you're talking to another female and now you're giving her all of this ammunition, not knowing that she's going to turn around and try and hook up with you. So it's just all bad. So you don't want to allow that space for somebody else to come in and try and get any type of leeway in your relationship.
I say it's dangerous anyway because once the communication breaks down. Oh man, and one thing I learned is the first thing you destroy in the battle is communication.
Yeah.
So if the enemy can get you to stop talking, he won half the battle right there. If he can get you to stop to not say, so when we give each other the silent treatment, talking about me,
We do
it don't be for long though, because we
that.
both realize that the longer it goes on, that's not gonna turn out well because somebody gonna go to a place where all of a sudden it's like, oh well, that's how you feel. That's what we doing.
Oh, we
Okay.
don't do that.
So nah, because that communication. Think about in spiritual warfare. What's the first thing the enemy destroy? Your prayer life. If he can get you to stop praying, he won half the battle. So even though it's frustrating, and I know I'm making jokes in light of it, even though it's frustrating, you have to keep bringing it to their attention. You have to keep,
Say
hey,
it. Learn how to say it in different ways.
yeah,
Same way we do it our kids.
yeah, you make him think he's learning something new.
Like, so good point, Elder Anita. Work wives and work husbands. Mm-mm. Yeah. Even when you single, because you now have an emotional tie with this person.
That's a dangerous game to play.
It's a dangerous game to play.
So,
not and people only say it all the time, like, "Oh, this is my work husband."
They try to be joking about it, but no,
it's serious.
I've been a part of that and I witnessed it. Like you don't want to open that. You don't want to do that. You don't want to play that game because, like she said, that emotional attachment become dangerous because now you come home and you really ain't paying your spouse no attention because you think about everything that you and that other person was talking about all day, how they made you giggle at lunch, boom, 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 and you ain't even trying to call your spouse on lunch no more. You ain't even call me on lunch. What happened? Oh, nope. See, I'm good. Nope.
All right, Tanisha says, I'm glad you said that because sometimes we speak two different types of languages. So learning each other, learn how to comprehend is a good thing. Yeah. So if you got somebody that's visual, draw a picture. Everybody don't understand auditory, just telling the story.
The square going the square thing, and the circle going the circle. You gotta.
If you got to get some stick figures, some stuffed animals, or whatever you need to do to explain it, try different ways. Because if you're saying it one way and they're not understanding, figure out a different way. How would you tell somebody if they were deaf? How would you tell somebody if they were blind? How would you tell somebody if they, could not hear, see, or touch? You gotta, it takes a little bit, but you got to figure out how to communicate your needs. I don't know if you all talked about this, but what do you feel about having friends of the opposite sex? Not over here.
She lying. No.
Try it. Hey there, Kai. Thanks for joining us. It doesn't matter if you're late. We're glad you joined.
Really? That's how you feel?
Friends of the opposite sex.
But we cousins. Niggas be lying saying that, don't they? That's my cousin. Boy, that ain't your cousin. No, let me.
We did talk about that a little bit in the first session because he had a female best friend when we got together.
Okay, so the circumstance, like she got a male best friend, but the circumstances is totally different. Y'all, that dude, that's your man. Is he cool?
Tell me in my ear.
I don't know. It's he cool.
Right. Childhood friend. Yeah, that's saying we don't talk that often.
But that's just it though. But y'all cool though.
Yeah.
If you knew somebody from the womb to the tomb and y'all ain't never, which is rare. But as far as like I call myself having a female best friend, that was hilarious.
It's different. Like if you have childhood friends or people, we're talking about somebody that you communicate with on a regular basis. We're not talking about somebody that you might say happy birthday to once a year or something like that. If you have what you consider to be a friend, like you're communicating on a regular basis, you talk to them more than you talk to your spouse. That's a whole issue.
You probably need to be with that person. If you talk to that person,
that's a problem because again, like we talked about, marriage is not 50-50. Nope. If you give 50% to your spouse, you still got 50% to give to somebody else. So why do you have these other people as far as if you're in a relationship?
I think it's
not saying you can't have friends, but it's very difficult for a man and a woman of the opposite sex to remain platonic. Typically what happens is either y'all was cool and kicking it when y'all was younger. Y'all wanted to be together. Whatever didn't happen, didn't happen. So y'all just stayed friends.
That's no.
There's sexual tension
no,
there.
So she's speaking from something I went through, but she didn't tell me not to be friends with her. She told me to watch. So the young lady, I knew her. She was like maybe a freshman, sophomore at CAD. So I knew her for a long time. And
you got things cast girls.
y'all smart. Yeah. What you talking about? One of my birthdays, which I got in trouble for doing, it's not like trouble, but she brought it to my attention, like, you didn't think this through. Invited her to come to my birthday party because we friends. But get this, she messed it up because if we was friends, she would have came so she could have met the wife and everything and been like, yep, that's my boy, woo woo. So I paid attention to that. I don't really think you should have opposite unless it's
so this kind of ties into what she's saying. So Tanisha said, what if y'all have friends for years? How would you handle it in order to not bring tension into the relationship? They were friends for probably over 20 years.
Man, we were friends.
But the problem was they weren't really friends. So you have to know how friend is defined, because are you calling somebody a friend just because you've known them a long time?
Right.
Have they been with you through something, or do they just like to hang out because you're fun to hang out with?
Friend?
Right. Is that really your friend? Because that's the first question you have to answer, and you have to answer that for yourself.
And then,
are you truly friends or not? That's the first part of it. And then before you even think about bringing tension into the relationship, what's the nature of your relationship with that friend?
Right.
If you're going to them because you need somebody to talk to, that's going to be a problem, because that's what your spouse is there for.
Yep.
So you have to really define what those boundaries are going to be like. It doesn't matter how long you've been friends. If you are only friends, there's never been any sexual tension there. You've never wanted to get with each other, and you can't answer that for the other person.
Then he gay, or she like women, because I don't care what nobody say, that whole you could be friends with. No, listen, some opportunity is going to arise. I'm a dude, I'm telling you, opportunity is going to arise with this friend where if it don't go down, or it gonna look like it's gonna go, somebody gonna be looking at somebody sideways when they with their spouse. And then the smart spouse who paying attention gonna peep that, like, what's up with what's up with that? Why they keep looking? Like, if I'm hugging on her and the friend looking at me with tight doodle face, she gonna be looking like,
told you.
What's that about? Oh, okay. So nah, we good. If that's your friend that tough, that's who you need to be with. Because because now the other person, if you, let's say you haven't been knowing them that long and you bring them in, the other person's gonna be telling them stuff about you. Like, yeah, I like the way they do such. Really? So you need to check out my best friend's wedding, because that's the perfect.
There's a couple movies that deal with that.
Yeah, you can't do. No, I don't think you. No, I just personally think it's not a good idea, because somebody gonna have a tight face.
Normally, one of the two of you has had thoughts about the other person in a non-platonic way.
It's gonna come out. It's gonna come out, especially when the other person get with somebody.
All right, Mom said I had a male. What does that say? I had a male friend for years, always had my back, no problem. Like my big brother, when I told him I finally found that one, he stopped talking to me like we never knew each other.
That's because he had other ideas.
That was not your friend.
He was grooming you to be his wife. He was grooming you to be his girl.
Had a couple, male friends over the years, but no. When you're in a relationship, that does not work. And usually one of them is sitting and waiting.
Yep.
Waiting for you to not be in a relationship, waiting for you not to have a man, waiting for you not to have a woman, so that they can come in and act like a friend, start spending more time with you, because they're trying to get in that spot.
Want that role.
And if they just abruptly stop talking to you, cut off, that's not a friend, because a friend's gonna be concerned about what's going on with you.
And if he was like a big brother to you, he wouldn't stop talking to you. That lets you know
people play that big brother role.
That big brother and cousin that we found. No, we not. You
big brother and cousins, just like uncle and auntie.
Ooh, but
and your mama and grandmama don't know them.
Right. You start asking, who is that? When that become your brother? I know your brother. He adopted.
So great questions tonight, everyone. Thank you so much for your participation. Next week we'll have another wonderful topic. We'll be sharing that in advance.
We
So thank you for all of your input, your comments. We love it. Thank you for joining us each week for Marriage Mondays. Got any final thoughts?
as you can see, we start with one topic and we
There's no telling where we go.
And just tune in to Marriage Monday. That's all I'm gonna tell you. We got a subject, that's true, but I don't know where it's gonna end up.
You never know.
You never know.
So thank you for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Next time.
Bye.
Bye bye.